With the start of Year 5 right around the corner, my friends, there have been a lot of questions bouncing around our universe in regard to what we can expect moving forward. Now, thankfully, Yannick, who is the creative director over at The Division 2, has done a series of interviews. So in today's video, I'm going to take a few minutes and go over some of the questions he was asked in different online publications, but more importantly, pass along some of the answers he gave us on a few things we can expect to see in the future. What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and today, my friends, it's all about trying to answer a few questions that I know a lot of people have in the community, and as I said a moment ago, thankfully Yannick did answer some of them, and I wanted to pass those answers along today. Now, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, and you know about the giveaways here, but I will save that to the end. Now, one thing I want to mention is that I will leave a link to all of these interviews in the video description down below. That way you can check them anytime you want. But as you can see here, and this first interview is from godisageek.com, and again, I will leave that link in the video description down below. But the first question they asked Yannick is, how does he feel about the Division 2 overall? And Yannick goes on to say, I'm really excited for our players and fans to learn more about what's happening in the Division story. Getting ready to introduce new Year 5 content, we are fully committed to not only maintaining a live game, we're also expanding on the game and trying to make it even a better experience. We love our Division agents and we welcome new players. Going from Year 3 to Year 4 to Year 5, content has been an ambitious task, but we haven't shown any signs of slowing down. In fact, we're actually picking up steam going into Year 5. We continue to be ambitious and we are excited about Year 5. I always tell people that live games do not get old if they are maintained properly. That is the mindset we have when it comes to the Division 2. Now, right below that is a question some of you have had since this game launched, and that is if there would be any chance of cross-play or cross-save being introduced into the game. Now, Yana goes on to say the reality is when the Division 2 was released, crossplay wasn't as big as it is now. At the time, the online infrastructure for the Division 2 wasn't built to support crossplay. If we were to explore crossplay for the game at this time, it would require a massive overhaul of the infrastructure, so the overall scope would be quite a bit to take on at this time. Now, this is something the game has talked about for a while now, and I've mentioned this in previous videos as well. I never thought the game was going to actually introduce it. They've made it kind of clear since the beginning. Now, my hope is moving forward with this franchise, if there were to be a third game, that's something they would introduce then. Moving on to the next series of questions, my friends, they begin with, are there any features of the newer consoles you'd still love to take advantage of? And Yana goes on to say, I actually play on PC, so I can't give much insight on the newer consoles. From what I hear, the feedback on the PS5 has been pretty amazing, so I would be curious to see how we could take advantage of those features in terms of graphics, but again, my knowledge of new consoles is limited since I specifically play on PC. The next question is, are there any plans to revamp the PvP element? And Yannick says, we intend to make improvements to PvP. That said, we don't have any plans for a major overhaul or a big PvP update at this time, but we are looking to make slight improvements moving forward. We currently restarted our Elite Task Force program where we have players come to the studio and talk about features of the game. We'd like to have a PvP specific Elite Task Force to help improve the PvP experience with the emphasis on quality of life fixes and feature improvements. The last question on the page, my friends, reads as follows: is the new roguelike DLC the shape of things to come in the Division 2? Now, one thing I want to make clear as we move on is that there is a new roguelike game mode called Descent coming out in Year 5 Season 1, and there's also a DLC coming out in Year 5 Season 4. They are two totally separate things. So you can see Yannick says, after Descent, there are no plans to develop additional game modes in the near future. Once Year 5 is released, our plans will shift to maintaining the game and helping with improvements along the way. Those will be the priorities once Year 5 is out. Now, earlier today, I posted my typical Monday news video, and if you missed it, I will leave a link to it in the video description down below. And I did reference the fact I am looking forward to seeing Descent come out. However, as I read this article, I'm very happy to hear that Year 5 is going to be the priority because we need to see certain quality of life improvements, especially for PC players. We know crashing has unfortunately been a constant issue for some of you out there. So it is my sincere hope that those are the types of things they continue to work on as we move forward, and as as always, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know. Now, the next question and answer, in my opinion, is the best part of the interview. The question is, what's your favorite thing about Year 5 content that you can tell us about? And Yannick says, I'm really excited about the DLC coming later in Year 5, not because of the content, although it's going to be great, but more so because of what it means for the game. Making a DLC at the end of Year 5 is a very bold statement of how much we're investing in this game. That's what I love about it. We're allowed to make DLC and we're trusted to make DLC. It shows that everyone is fully committed to The Division 2. The next question is, will you be expanding on the lore and story of the universe in-game moving forward? And Yannick says, when it comes to The Division 2, storytelling has been one of the biggest successes in the game. When we introduced Seasons as a part of the Warlords of New York expansion, it was light on story and more based on gameplay. When we came back with Year 3 content and new seasons, we did so in the intent to have more meaningful stories. We did this because we wanted to give another reason for players to come back other than just wanting more loot, and seeing how many players came back after Year 3 and how now they are more engaged today with storytelling compared to years ago, that is one of the successes that's led to us telling even more stories in the game. Now, after reading that portion of the interview and making our way to the last series of questions, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, you know what, I'd rather have more stuff to do in the game than story, or at least more of a balance between the two. Now, in my opinion, and this is something I've said as well before, there's no other game like this one, and that's a problem for me because nothing compares to this game in many ways. You know, I'll play a certain game and I'm like, well, it's not like The Division, and I know we did hit a bumpy road for a while, but as I said before, my friends, I truly believe we are on the right path. Getting all of this information, having a Division Day obviously was a very good thing, so I am looking forward to the future. Now, on the final page of questions, it begins with, The Division 2 has struggled now and then with the gear system. Will you be making any significant changes to gear level and loot economy? And Yannick responds by saying, with Seasons 2.0, we plan to add a new item type. In other words, we will be shuffling the gear by creating new items that you'll be chasing, and these new items will have different offerings compared to the gear that you already have, and that really sounds damn good, fellow agents. Now, right below that, the question is, do you see The Division having a long tail, and would you like to make more games, updates, and DLC for the future? And he says you're now seeing that with The Division Heartland and The Division Resurgence. This has now become a franchise, and when we're telling stories, it's within the overall Division universe. Having a dedicated Division Day to celebrate these games shows the commitment that we have here at Ubisoft for this franchise. With all that being said, my friends, I'm going to start to wrap this up. As always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible continued support of this channel, and remind you, if you have any other questions I did not address in this video, please let me know and I will do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this thing, we are currently having a giveaway for a PlayStation 5. To enter, all you need to do is subscribe here or follow on Twitter, and the winner will be announced May 4th of this year. On that note, I'm going to leave you with some gameplay footage, but as I said at the beginning of this thing, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, but most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.
Entering new location. Difficulty rating. Hard. Hostiles constructing. Hostiles spawn from highlighted doors. Available.